All right, so we're 5 after. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know we've been excited about this for a while now, and I'm so excited to finally to be able to do this with Brittany. So we are being joined by I Am with Brittany today. If you haven't seen her YouTube channel, that is her YouTube channel. She's another fantastic I Am creator, and I've resonated with her stuff so much because we're coming from the truth, and it's the only truth. It's the I am. And I love her perspective on it and her take on it and her story. And Brittany, I'm so grateful that you've been able to join us today. Brittany, thank you so much for being here today.
Good morning. Hi, Brandon. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on this morning and joining me. There are so many things that I think are what people get into reality creation for. And I thought, what better way to kind of introduce myself than talking about living your dream life. I think that's what everybody is kind of here for. So what I really want to, of course, talk about is understanding the absolute truth. As Brandon said, this is the foundation for everything. So really coming from the understanding that who you truly are is everything, is all of it, is source, God, I am, infinite intelligence, the faceless, formless, invisible substance. That's who you are. And when we think we are this human that has a life with these problems and they want to get from this life to their dream life, that's where there's a disconnect. That's where there's struggle. That's where it feels like it's impossible. And truly, to that character, to the human self, it is very difficult to go at it from that perspective. So what I've noticed in, of course, my experience, but many people that I've worked with over the years is when you're coming from this character's point of view with the belief systems, with the stories, with the past and the trauma and the current problems that we appear to be perceiving, it is going to be very difficult. But when we can drop this idea that this is who we are and we recognize the only truth that we are as I am, we can really allow our quote unquote dream life to emerge, because it's not anywhere but here. There's no separation between everything that you want to be experiencing and what you're currently perceiving right now. It's not a brand new reality that you are jumping into. It's understanding that you are the reality. You are the life. So the searching, looking, striving, trying to get to is just going to produce more of that. And I'm sure a lot of you have gone through lots of different things in, manifestation or reality creation or whatever you want to call it. And that leads to oftentimes thinking that there's something wrong that needs to be fixed, that needs to be changed. And I remember for myself, when I recognized that there really is nothing that needs to be done here, my mind wanted to give me all of the reasons why that couldn't possibly be. So we have to really understand, in order to drop not only the identity to the human self, and just to make it clear, I by no means mean that we're not going to live through our characters. We are. That's what we're here for. That's the fun of it. So I don't want you to think that we're just dropping it and living in source and nothing else. But I want you to understand the foundation is the truth of who you are. And then you can play around and have fun with this. So the biggest thing with this is understanding that your mind is really not here to help you with any of this. Now, I'm not saying we're going to completely ignore the mind altogether, but truly you want to take it with a grain of salt. It's understanding that your mind is only pulling from the character's perceived past, perceived issues, whatever is currently being experienced by the character. And that's the only way and the only information that it has to present to you. So if you don't like the current experience that you have, we have to be able to allow the thoughts to be there, yes, but not give them any weight. And the easiest way to do this is just allowing everything, not fighting against it, not trying to ignore it, absolutely not trying to flip it, because all that does is feed your energy to those thoughts, to those stories, and it essentially invites them to come back again and again and again. Same thing with emotions. I understand that we have lots of emotions, and we're here to experience emotions. So please know that there's nothing wrong with any emotion that you are experiencing. Every single emotion exists in every single experience. So no, there is nothing wrong with feeling anything that you feel. Just understanding that you want to allow it, number one. Number two, not attaching any identification to it, not adding on stories, labels, judgments, just completely giving the space for the emotion to arise and then to move through, which I will be frank, for me, it does intensify at times, but then it dissipates, it dissolves, and you feel so much better, so much clearer, and you naturally then are left with your true nature of who you are, which is calm, at peace, content. That's it. So really, there's nothing for you to do to get back to that space. I know people ask all the time, like, how do I keep returning to it? How do I get back into the state? You don't have to do anything. This is who you are. It's really dropping all of the illusions, all of the ideas that you're not who you want to be. So again, I know a lot of you guys have come into this from a manifestation standpoint, which is totally fine, but this is dropping all of that. Truly, it's dropping all of the ideas that you have something to do to get from A to B, and it's realizing that you are already there. You've always been there. It's just the recognition that that is the case. So to make it very simple, to give you some sort of framework, if you will, it's truly just living your everyday in the awareness that you are exactly who you've always wanted to be. And it can be no other way. Stop trying to fix things, change things, label things, judge things, and just relax in the truth and the knowing of who you are.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. I want to turn it over to questions, but I got a question for you first, Brittany.
Of course.
So if you were to, like, obviously we can't do this all over again, but right, if you had the knowledge you had now back when you were first starting, like, what is the first step you would take? The very first.
Absolutely. What I would say is just simply bringing it into your awareness. And what that really means is bringing it up into your mind. This is not to convince yourself of anything. It's not to affirm, I am God, I am God, I am God. It is simply to bring this into your awareness and just sit in that space. Just sit in that space. Because I know the number one question I get is, okay, I believe in this stuff. I really do understand it intellectually as well as I can. But how do I truly know this? I feel like you know it, but how do I know it? And truly, this isn't something to achieve. It's understanding that at the core, you do know it. Your ego, your human self, is trying to know it. And really, that's not what we need to do. We just need to rest in this idea, in this truth, and allow it to be presented to us. Allow ourselves to feel it, to see it. It will be different for everyone. So I don't want you to be looking for any sort of, light bulb, like, oh, there it is. No, really just sitting with this, because understanding the way that reality works is your experience is going to present to you who you are aware of being. And so when you're simply just aware of this truth, it starts to permeate who you really are, and it starts to be presented to you in different ways. Now, for me, it was just a sense, it was a calmness, it was a peace. And then after that, things started transforming in my experience. So that's what I would say. That's the only thing that I would say. I would say do nothing but that and allow everything to be presented to you, because this is the effortless, natural way of being.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Brittany.
You're
All right, guys. Hey, let me turn it over to questions. If you have questions, go ahead and throw your hands up. Yes, Patricia, go for it.
Hi.
Hi, Patricia.
First, let me say I appreciate you and your work very much. So it's been very helpful, your videos. I just binge watched them.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
I have been choosing my new identity, my new character. And the 3D is aligning, except for one person.
Mm-hmm.
Ignoring me, but on purpose. So, and I'm okay. This is my creation. I don't understand. So I want to know: is there my identity problem or a character problem? How can I ignore myself? I don't want that.
Right.
I want this person, this part of me, to ignore me.
Yes.
What's the problem there?
Well, it's just the recognition that this is what's happening. There's no problem. It's not a character problem. It's not an identity problem. It's you using your 5 senses to determine who you are. That's all that it is. So yes, I get that that's what you're perceiving right now, but you could simply also choose to be aware of something different. You can be aware of the fact that, wow, ever since I chose to know myself, everything in my life is incredible. All of my relationships are stronger than I could have ever imagined. And this is such a beautiful experience. That's it. We don't need to go looking for problems, because all that's going to do is bring up more problems that we have to fix. So just recognizing that there is no problem, and you get to determine what the truth is for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jenica?
Hi, everyone. So, for me, my question is more, I hope I'm audible. Because Brittany, you say, there's nothing to do but just be, right? Nothing to do to get something. I think in my mind, I get it, but I feel like, because prior to knowing about all of these things, I'm just living my life. So in order for me to create some sort of change, to live a better life, because obviously this thing that we're doing, it's because we're coming from this place that's we deem as an ideal, right? So we want to get to a more ideal life, a more ideal experiences, to have the love that we want, the money that we want, or whatever the desire may be. So I think that's where I'm having difficulty with the just be, because I feel like, but if I don't do anything, if I just be, then technically I'm not doing anything different from what I was doing before. So how can I get to the place that I want? So and in your videos, I remember someone asked you, can you give us like practical steps of how to do this? I think that's where the person is coming from also. I hope the question is clear. But
it's perfectly clear. It makes complete sense.
I just want to know what I'm supposed to do.
Okay, so when I say just be, that does not mean that you're gonna sit at home and completely stop living your life. That's not what it means at all. In fact, it's probably gonna look very much the same as it currently does. So it's not that you're going to stop living life. It's that you are choosing now to be aware of who you've always been. And when you say, what's the difference between before and now? How could anything change? Well, everything. You now know who you are. You now know that you are not this person that's struggling to live life in the way that she wants to, truly. Now, I'm again not saying that you're not ever going to take any steps or actions towards whatever it is that you choose for yourself. The difference in this is before you were doing it from a place of lack, striving, struggle, trying to effort your way to something. Now you're understanding that none of that is necessary. Actually, it can hurt you and keep you in a cycle that you don't want to be in. And instead, you are just going to rest in this truth, lean on this, trust in this truth, and allow yourself to be guided, allow yourself to go with the flow of things. This has literally changed the way that I live my everyday. And no, it's not me just sitting at home all day doing nothing. It's really just following things that make me feel good. And those things turning into opportunities for me over and over again without any effort on my part, but choosing to know who I am. So when you mention like money or love, here's the thing, you are those things. If you understand that you are love itself, you are money itself, you are the energy that it takes to animate those experiences for yourself, then how could you do anything to get it? You are it. It's the recognition that that's who you are, and then living your everyday life in the way that you have been in that awareness. That's what allows everything in your life to shift, because you're making that shift. You're being different, therefore everything is different. And that's what I suggest you wake up in the morning reminding yourself of. I know a lot of people are waking up every morning saying, here we go again, nothing's different. And yeah, exactly, because nothing will ever be different. You are the one that needs to be different. You are reality itself. There's nothing outside of you. So if you want change, you be the change. You wake up in the morning and you say, wow, everything is completely different simply because I am. And then you move through your life in that awareness.
Mhm.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Anu.
Yeah, hi Brittany.
Hello,
I just
good
wanted to-
morning.
Good morning. I'm from India,
I
and
love it.
yeah, and I just want to start by saying that this moment right now is my manifesting coming true, like talking to you, because when you had started your channel, I was like, I want to speak to Brittany. I don't know how it will happen, but I just want it to happen.
I
And
love
since
it.
Brandon announced this call, what I'm saying was exactly what I wanted to tell you, that yeah, this is my manifestation.
Oh, I
Coming
love it. That's so
materializing.
amazing.
And regarding my question, I think you have answered, and everyone, I guess, is asking same question from different point of view. My thing is again something similar. When I am in that I am space, I
Mhm.
feel a bit too floaty, like
Mhm.
not grounded, maybe.
Mhm.
And when I'm like perceiving things differently, even though it feels effortless, at one point I feel it's an effort when I'm perceiving everything in my favor, because it's again an effort. So both feel like extremes, how to have that balance.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just spoke to somebody about this same thing the other day, and I'm going to tell you similarly what I told her. And really, I don't want you to be judging yourself in any way. I think, again, coming from this understanding that we're just this human, and now we're recognizing that that's not the case. A lot of people will tell me that they feel super floaty, like you said. They feel like they're just kind of moving through, and they're not really being productive, or they're not really doing anything that's important. And what does that even mean? I mean, we're not here to be productive. We're not here to get work done. We're really here to know who we are and play with that. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't be productive if that's what you want. I just want you to understand that there's nothing inherently wrong with being in that space. So for me, I noticed oftentimes when I was going through this awakening and understanding that I would feel really tired and lazy And I would let myself feel lazy and tired, but then my mind would say things like, this is ridiculous. You can't just lay around. Like, you need to do things. How are you supposed to live the life that you want to live if you're just going to like lay at home all day? And so I felt really conflicted. But then as I was connecting with the truth, I had this knowing, and it was, there's nothing wrong with any of this. This is perfect right now in this moment. This is what you want to do. This is what feels good to you. So allow yourself to do it. And funny enough, while I was in those periods of resting, that's when I had the deepest knowing and understanding of who I was. So then I could come out on the other side of that and then choose to define myself with my character and have fun with it, instead of coming from a place of feeling like I needed to do it right. I need to control it. This feels like effort. So if you're playing around with like the character's identity, what I would say to you is you don't need to be specific. I think this is a really big thing for people, and that's where they say it makes them feel tired. It feels like I have to like be mentally on top of things all the time. No, not at all. In fact, I would suggest you simply ask yourself a question. If I were truly living life in the way that I've always wanted to live it, what would that mean for me? And in my opinion, every single person that I've worked with, when we get down to it, is a sense of security and safety and freedom. That's it. That's what people really, really want. So you can simply just walk around in the awareness that I am freedom itself. I am completely free, and I am perfectly safe and secure in every way, in every area of my life. And that's it. Don't make it more complicated than that. I'm not saying you can't play around and have fun and visualize and do all those things if you want to. But again, I think a lot of people are here in this space because they've done all of that and they're kind of tired of it. And you don't have to. You don't have to. Okay.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thanks.
You're so welcome.
Brittany, I've got a two-part question.
Sure.
Do you like the term SP? And what do I do when my SP is ghosting me? You know, they unfollowed me on Instagram, right? I'm getting no responses. There is zero movement on this person that I want.
Oh man. Well, no, I do not like the term. I do not at all, because I don't think we're going around calling our person our SP, right? So of course we don't need to use names, but no, this is your love. This is your person. So really understanding that ghosting, blocking, not talking to you, all of those things, they're illusions. They're not real. That is simply what you are aware of, and that has to be perpetuated in your experience. But coming back to the truth first and foremost, who is there to be ghosted? What is ghosted? Who is there to be blocked? What even is that? We are not this character. So it's perfectly fine if you're feeling some sort of way about it. It's okay. Understand it's the character. And I do this quite often where I find myself getting invested in my character's emotions. And then when I recognize that that's what's going on, I kind of just have a little laugh at myself and remember, whoa, I thought it was her for a minute. Now I'm remembering the truth. And so I'll come back to that truth, and then I'll remind myself that I am perfect, whole, and complete right here, right now, in this moment. There is absolutely nothing missing from me and who I am. And I leave it at that. Now, if you want to, of course, you can remind yourself that this is the love of my life and I have nothing to worry about. And then you can carry on with your day if that feels good to you. But for me, I don't like feeling like I need to micromanage or control anything, because truthfully, none of this is about control. It's about releasing the need to control, because we were never here to control things in the first place. We were here to know who we were and then to move from that space and allow everything to come to us, which is so much better in my opinion.
So what about on those really frustrating days, right? It's raining out. I just want to be watching Netflix with this person, but they're not here. How do you keep yourself sane?
Well, first of all, allow the space to feel frustrated and to cry and to feel lonely. That's all valid and it's perfectly fine. But understand that that's only coming from one points of view, out of infinite perspectives that we can choose from. So again, I'm not one to rush myself away from feeling a certain way, because I don't think that that's very productive, and it doesn't really validate the character in the way that they want to be validated in that space. So again, allowing yourself the space to feel what needs to be felt, and then having that relief and coming back to the truth, knowing that none of this is actually real. It's not a fact. It's not the truth. And I can sit here and spend my time focusing on the fact that they're not here and they're missing, or I can remember what's really going on. And that is, this is simply just reflecting who I am aware of being. So in that space, I can shift right now in this moment and choose to be aware of many other things other than this. And again, if for you, that's wanting to be aware of how amazing your life is and the fact that this relationship is included in that life, then go right ahead and do it. But honestly, I don't tend to do that. I tend to go to something completely unrelated because I don't feel the need to focus on the thing that my character was just feeling upset about. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, because there's already some sort of opposing storyline that's right here in the forefront for you, because that's what you're aware of, it doesn't really feel very good to the character to say, oh no, but they're here right now and we're having the best time. So if it feels good to you, you go for it. But for me and for a lot of people that I speak to, they don't like that. So it feels better to just go to the truth always, remember who you are, and then allow yourself to enjoy something else. And something else that I can say from experience of being by myself, feeling lonely, feeling like I didn't have friends, I was going through a messy divorce, my kids weren't even with me, I was just lonely all the time, feeling bad for myself. I kind of had a little shift where I was like, you know what? Pretty soon, everything's going to be completely different. And I'm not going to have the opportunity to be by myself. I'm not going to have the chance to do my self-care and my reading and my laying around the couch just being lazy. So I better take advantage of this. So I was already in the space of knowing none of this is going to be like this for very long. So let me enjoy it. And I could enjoy the lonely time. I can enjoy the time just being by myself and, watching Netflix on my own on the couch and actually have a different perspective of that.
That's awesome. Because it's about choosing, right? It's just choosing something else, right? It's not what you prefer, but that's how it is right now in front of your face. And you just like deciding as source, this is going to be different soon. So everything's okay right now. Yeah. That's perfect. Onifia.
Brittany, hi everyone. Good morning. I think Brandon asked the questions that I wanted to ask, but I still have more. I came from law of assumption, and when everyone used to say affirm and be persistent in what you're affirming and be on a mental diet. And when I sit down and affirm, I feel like if I used to get more anxious and nervous about this whole experience, it's like, I don't like this. And then I came across Brandon channel. And then when he just told me when he said relax, there's nothing to do. I used to be like, weird, just relax. That got me more. I was like, what? And then as I listened to the replays, I just got this confidence that everything will unfold perfectly. But as Brandon said, as you were saying, sometimes when you're relaxing and you miss this person and you just want to be with this person, I normally get nervous, but I go straight ahead back to I am source and I show myself love. But sometimes I still miss him. But I know that everything will unfold perfectly. And this group here gives me so much confidence that I know everything will unfold perfectly and there is nothing for me to do. And it feels great. That's the honest truth. And I just tell you, hi. I really appreciate you coming and answering everyone's question. So thank you.
You are so welcome. And thank you so much for sharing that with me. That makes me so happy. I love this. I've only just peeked in a little bit here and there, but This community is incredible. Thank you, Brandon, for doing it. I think it's so important. It's so important to have others that you can lean on and share things with and kind of just throw ideas out to, because I understand that maybe you don't have many people in your experience that understand. And yes, you can absolutely choose that for yourself. I've done it. I got really tired of being like, it's so lonely just being like this on my own. And I'm like, why am I just accepting that? No, I have people in my life that love this stuff, that want to hear from me. And that's exactly what I'm experiencing now. So I have lots of family members contacting me like, hey, tell me about this, help me with this. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'm open to this. So I'm allowing it to grow in my experience. And I'm excited for all of you guys too, that get to do this. So thank you, Anifia.
And another question, Brandon gave me a little challenge to apply the SP. I still feel nervous about it, but I know that I am sore. So a little advice, how should I go about
Well, first of all, remember that it's not you that feels nervous. It's not Source that feels nervous. Source doesn't get nervous. Source knows. Source knows. That's it. So the character feels nervous. And thank you for asking that question, because I get a lot of people asking, what do I do about this anxiousness? Or what do I do about feeling so much resistance? Remember, all of those feelings are coming from a character. They're not coming from you. So really, don't try to do anything with it. Don't try to get rid of it. Allow it the space to be there and recognize what's truly going on, that this is not you. It's not coming from you, but we're going to allow it. And I really do want you guys to practice allowing these emotions, because most of us have never done that. You know, whether you're in this community, this reality creation, or you never knew anything about any of this. Most people that I have come in contact with do not allow their emotions. They just don't. So really, we're going to allow the space for the nervousness to be there, while understanding that as who you truly are, this isn't you. So let the character feel nervous, because truly she doesn't know what's going on. She only knows from her perspective. So it makes sense for her. Just like I've said before, like if it were a little child that was feeling nervous about, you know, their first day of school, you're not going to make them feel bad for their emotions. You're not going to try to hurry them through and let's focus on something else. Like, you're going to be there, give them the space to feel what they need to feel, and just let them know that they're safe, they're loved, and they're always going to be taken care of. So that's how I want you to handle the character's nervousness, is just allowing it and then reminding the character that she's safe and everything is being taken care of for her. And you don't have to get more complicated than that.
Thank you. And that's something I've been doing nowadays, just allowing myself to feel what I have to feel. Right. And as I go on, it gets easier. Thoughts don't even be there sometimes. And even if thoughts come up, it just like nothing to me, because I know I'm in control. I am Source.
Exactly.
And I am.
Exactly.
Something that once again, this group has helped me with, for somebody that overthinks and reacts to every little thing in her life.
Yeah.
Helped me so much with was just allowing my emotions and allowing myself to flow. So I thank you once again. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
Patricia.
If we're talking about the SP, so the person who does ignore me is obviously my SP.
Yeah.
And when I watch him kissing with his new girlfriend, I just like, okay, I allow myself to feel that. I allow so this to happen. Okay, good. So how would you? I'm asking myself, should I ignore it? So should I ignore him like he ignores me? Or should I say, hey, we're okay here? So I wanted yesterday to just go and tell him, you don't need to ignore me. We are adults here and we can behave normally. I just wanted to be gone from my life. I don't want to see it anymore. I just want to ignore it. But
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get it.
What would you do?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that if you see this person kissing someone else, that's not your person. That's not your person. You're not in a relationship with somebody that's kissing someone else. So that is completely irrelevant to you. I understand it might look like your person, but it's not. There's infinite versions of your person, just like there's infinite versions of your character. So you have to stop looking at that as if it's your truth. It's not. And if you want it to just go away, you have to be the one to drop it. It can't go anywhere when you're holding on to it and you're still defining your experience as my person is ignoring me. My person is kissing another woman. Okay. All you're going to get is more proof of that. That's it. So obviously I get your emotions are involved. Feel them, let the character feel the emotions, and then come back to the relief that this has nothing to do with you. It truly, truly doesn't. But if you make it to do with you, then it's going to keep being your experience. So really just understanding that truly this is not yours. This isn't what you've chosen. And now you have the ability and the gift to shift your awareness to something that feels better for you.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Did you have some, Patricia? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But what do I do in the 3D? So do I ignore it? Because I'd like to be civil and be friends if we're not together.
But you're still acting as if this is your life to fix. It's not. This is not what you've chosen. So why are you involving yourself in a story or a movie that you don't want anymore? So it doesn't mean that you can't say anything. It doesn't mean that you can't, contact him if you feel the need to. But here's the thing. You want to be first and foremost living in the space of who you've chosen to be. You can go to source, absolutely. But if you're assuming anything other than the fact that we are in the most incredible relationship, whatever you do from there is not going to give you what you want, because you're assuming right now, you're in the identity right now that my person is with someone else and I can't deal with this. I want to tell him to his face that, he shouldn't ignore me. All you're doing is digging your feet into the sand of this experience where your partner is disrespecting you and ignoring you and he doesn't want to be with you. So it's really not about what you should do or not do in the 3D experience. You will be led to do or not do whatever it is that's necessary, as long as you are coming from your chosen identity.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brittany. Hey, I just want to remind everyone, the call's an hour. Brittany and I talked beforehand. We can go a little over, but let's just make sure with the questions, we have a lot of people to get to. So
really, when you use your previous experiences, it can be helpful. It can, but just remember that you're also coming from the current perspective that you're in now. So it might be skewed based off of the way that you're currently perceiving yourself. But in that situation where you said, you know what, whatever, like, I just can't care about this anymore, I'm just moving on. Well, you still had a desire for that friendship in some way. Maybe your ego was like, I'm over this, I'm pissed off. But really, the desire was already there for this thing to be resolved in whatever way it would be. And because you dropped the character's, need to make something happen or put in effort in any way, and you actually just surrendered, essentially, you allowed source to move through the character and to make it happen for you. So there's lots of experiences that I've talked to people about where they say that exact thing. It's like, why is it when I gave up, it worked? It's not because you gave up. It's because you stopped insisting that you could do anything as the character to make it happen. That's what it was. Now, yeah, you might have efforted for quite a while and then felt the need to drop it and let it go because you were exhausted, but none of that was necessary. It was just the fact that you finally got out of the way and allowed it to happen. I don't really understand the question about your friend giving you a hug or not, but it's not about the thoughts. You can say, oh yeah, that would never happen. But really, if you're somebody who has you know, a very general identity of like, I have a great group of friends, for example, then that makes it possible for this person to come through and give you a hug, even if you're having a thought of, yeah, right, they'll never give me a hug. It's not really about your thoughts. It's about the way you define yourself and your experiences. Fine, because you don't need to continue to focus on the thing. I think a lot of people think that, like, I have to keep focusing on this thing so that I can experience it. Not at all. Not at all. In fact, that usually keeps people in a space that they don't want to be in, because most of the time they're coming from a space of, I don't have it and I'm going to keep focusing on it to have it. It's not going to do anything for you if you're still aware of the fact that you don't have it. So does that make sense?
Let me send it over to Annika.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi, Annika. Good morning.
Yeah, good afternoon over here.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm a big fan, of course. I thought I would ask a question that's kind of general. What is your basic belief or knowing or state when it comes to money? And like, how do you how do you not deal with it? What is your state and how did you get there? Or, you know, have you been there the whole time, and how does it work for you?
Yeah, I love that question. And it's a great question for me specifically, because I think for my story, money was the hardest thing for me for so long. So I think I've talked about this before, but I went the route of doing more, working more until I had 3 jobs, and nothing changed with my experience. So I was like, okay, it's pretty obvious that it has nothing to do with the amount of money that I'm bringing in, because that isn't changing my experience at all. So what I really do in terms of living in wealth and abundance and just complete freedom is just choosing to know that I am it. I am money. I am wealth. I am abundance. And there's no possible way for me not to experience that unless I use my free will to choose a different experience. So really, I used to have an experience where I was constantly checking my bank account. I was constantly crunching numbers and planning and doing all of these things. And I just got to a point where I was like, I am so over this. I'm so tired of living my life this way. It doesn't feel good. I'm checking it. Why am I checking it 15 times a day? Nothing's going to change. Like, what is this? It was just this habit that I had built with this attachment to a scarcity mindset, honestly, just lack. And I shifted out of that truly, not by trying to have money, not by trying to convince myself I had a certain amount of money, but really just allowing myself to live in a space of complete safety, freedom, and the truth of knowing who I am. It's not flashy. It's just how it was for me and how it continues to be for me. And I just have a very free experience, if that makes sense. I do not care about money. I don't think about money. I don't check my bank account. My husband kind of jokes around about that. He's like, who knows how much money we have in this family because we never check. And I'm like, there's no need to. There's no need to. So I just don't care about it. And I know that I'm free and I'm taken care of always, no matter what. I don't look at things changing. It's just too much for me. So I prefer to just trust in who I am and allow money to flow to me. And it really does in so many different ways and avenues. It's kind of funny at this point.
Well, that's perfect. It's exactly what I've come, what my conclusion is too. So I'm so happy because I totally trust you, and that's great. Thank you so much for that answer.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Real quick, did anyone have anything on that? I thought I saw some thumbs going up. If not, no worries. Onifia, go for it real quick.
Okay, so I've let go of trying to get money and working hard to get money. And recently, yes, money have been coming in. I have 2 incomes coming in and it's super perfect. But
Good.
I've realized that I'm not, as the human will say, I'm not saving and money just letting go. Like,
Mhm.
it's not staying, if you understand me.
Yes, I do. I do.
Yes. So like
Yeah.
how I will go about,
Yes,
know?
yes, absolutely. So I would say, remember that who you are cannot lose anything. You can't lose who you are. So
Right.
recognizing that if you're following the numbers and constantly looking at your accounts, yes, you're probably going to have an experience where it appears, oh no, this at this moment it was like this and now it's going down. We don't want to get attached to the constantly changing forms. That is going to be a trap. So really don't be looking at things in that way. Choose to give yourself the experiences of knowing that no matter what comes up, no matter what I experience, money is always consistent in my experience because it's who I am. How could it be any other way? You know? And of course, something that I used to do is I like to hear other people in my life talking about me. And I'm not there. I just like hearing them talking about me and my life. And it's something probably because my mom and sister do it all the time. So it makes the most sense and it feels the most natural. So I would just allow myself to hear them talking about me, saying things like, wow, can you believe how successful Brittany is? Like, it's crazy. She used to struggle so much and now she's just so happy. She's living such an incredible life for herself and her family. And it shows like how happy she really is. She's glowing. Like, I would do something like that. Spend your time in those spaces because it's very easy to start looking at numbers and then getting into your human character and thinking, oh, I should be saving more. What is there to save or plan for? Honestly, there's no point because we just exist here and now. So as soon as you find yourself doing that, you just know that that's the character. Take a few deep breaths, remember who you are, and then give yourself the gift of experience. Allow yourself right now to experience being that version of you that is completely free when it comes to finances, but also just everything. Let's just make it about your entire life, you know?
Yes, thank you. And I think a couple weeks back I had tell Brandon I had manifested my pay raise, and both jobs I'm getting raise from next month. So I just, when you myself, I do not like to deprive myself and I just like to spend money, and I got goals, but it just the money's not staying. I'm getting, but it's not staying.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
stop telling that story because that's what you're
Yeah.
aware of. You could
Right.
get, again, like I did, get even more income coming in, but it won't be there because you keep defining your character as somebody that no matter what, the money isn't staying. Well, okay, here we go. Let's keep giving her experiences where no matter what, she has to keep draining her bank account.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, real quick, this call is being recorded for reposting within Skool. Brittany and I have not talked about posting it outside of it. I'm sure her and I will have that conversation, but for anyone who shared today and does not want to be posted outside of Skool, please send me a DM so I know who to exclude from the recording.
Yeah, no, and even that, just that idea is very conditional because it's like, oh, well, if I feel a certain way or I have a certain thought, that means I'm not that person. No, now we're just making up rules for ourselves that make it more difficult to experience ourselves in the way that we want to. So just know and remember that you're multidimensional. So all of these characters that you have created for yourself all exist. And no matter what, whether you're identified with them or not, they do exist. So it's not crazy to be fully aware of who you are and be in that knowing and trust and feel great and feel at peace, and then have a thought or a feeling that comes in that says, wait a second, this isn't safe. You can't even feel this way because that means you're not doing it right. And if we jump on that thought or that feeling and we take it, then that's where we kind of get in that space of, oh God, I don't know if I'm doing this right. None of that. None of that. I really want you to allow everything. Allow the thoughts, allow the feelings. Just don't make them mean anything about you. And I know your mind wants to do that. It's like, oh, this makes sense. Let's go with that story. But really understanding that you're the one who determines all of it. So even if you find yourself jumping into that thought spiral and you're like, oh no, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I shouldn't even feel hesitation. Just remind yourself, hold on. Who says that? Who's saying that I shouldn't feel this way? Who's saying that I can't have this thought? Not me, not me. And then just let it go. Of course, whatever you decide is perfectly fine. There's no right or wrong, but just remind yourself, whatever you choose to do or not do, that this is who you are. You always want to be coming from your chosen identity or truly just from source. And you can go to source and just remember that, wait a second, none of these characters are me. Yes, they are here. They're a part of me, but they aren't who I am. So I'm coming back to the truth first and foremost, reminding myself of who I am. I'm perfectly safe. I'm perfectly secure. I'm free. There's nothing missing in me, who I really am. And nothing can be taken away from who I really am. So then if you choose to go spend the money, it's perfectly fine. And if you choose not to, it's perfectly fine. That does not define who you are.
Hi, Brittany. How are you doing? Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
Hi. I don't have a question per se, but I just want to say, you've like touched almost everything pretty much that I am in agreement with. I had this conversation with Brandon, I think it was 2 calls ago. Pretty much, I haven't come from a background where I've had to make changes in how I was believing, because that didn't work for me. I don't think it would work for me because I'm not that type of person. But I believe in a natural way of doing things. And I'm embracing everything, embracing me, loving me, just being me. Yeah, I have moments. I'm not going to sit here and think that I'm superhuman, because I'm not. But I really do have moments, and I'm learning to deal with those moments and just letting them be and accepting me for me, and that's it.
I am so happy to hear that. That's amazing, Michelle.
Yeah. So thank you once again. Thank you so much.
Of course. You're so welcome. And thank you. Thank you for being you.
Yes, thank you too for being you too. It helps a lot. It really does. Thank you.
Good. You're so welcome.
Thanks, Michelle. Gagan, go for it.
Hey, Brittany.
Good morning.
Good morning. I had to jump in. I just finished my gym. But all right, I had 2 questions. I'll try to make it real quick. The first one would be, I'm going to talk about a practice. Like, what kind of practice would you do to center yourself during the day whenever, regardless of what the 3D is showing, whether it's in your favor, it's not in your favor, to detach completely and to surrender? That would be the first part of the question. And the second would be, when the judgments start coming in, especially when you start doing it more often, I think the old stories, the fears, everything starts kind of showing times 1,000.
Yeah.
So how do you stabilize yourself and be sure you're in the knowing, that continue with the fact that you're source and stand in that knowing, and let everything else be around you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So the first thing that I would say, if any type of practice, would really just be simple, going back to the truth. And I don't just mean telling yourself, okay, no, I'm source, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. What I mean is taking a few breaths, allowing everything to be just the way that it is, but doing nothing with it, and sitting in the awareness of the truth, really just sitting with that. And for me, that used to just look like going outside, sitting on my porch and staring into whatever there was in the distance and just choosing to be aware of the truth. Yes, there's things going on around us. That's okay. It doesn't need to be quiet. It doesn't need to be, free from circumstances. It's just choosing to internally, because you could also be going for a walk. You could be doing something at your office, but just choosing to sit in this space for a few brief moments, if that's all you have, in the awareness of who you are. And I tend to put my hand over my heart, and I just I let myself feel it, whatever that is. It's not an emotion. It's just connecting with the truth. And as far as what you mentioned in the second part of the question, you're absolutely right. That's how it works. That's what happens. And what I want to point you to is this. When that starts to happen, first, I want you to understand what's going on. It's the dissolving and falling away of the ego, of the identity that has been held onto for what seems like forever. So really, it's going to do everything that it can to keep you in that space. I remember when I was doing these practices of I am and connecting to source, and as soon as I would sit down, my mind would literally throw everything in my way. Like, no, you have to get up. You left the flat iron on. Your house is going to burn down. What are you thinking? You can't just be sitting here. You have to go get your kid. Like, oh my God, what if it's already 3:30? I sat down at 12. Like, this is ridiculous, So your mind is going to do everything it can to keep you away from the truth. That's how it works, because it just wants to survive. It wants to be the thing that you rely on for your identity, for your truth. So really, we always have a choice. Do you want to choose the programming, the identity that says it can only be this one way that is coming from what you've previously experienced? Or do you want to choose the truth, the infinite being that you are, that knows all, that has all the answers, and that is always constantly guiding you to these places that you want to be? So really just knowing that that's going to happen and recognizing what it is that's happening. For me, I found I can laugh at it. I can see it for what it really is. And I don't have to let it derail me or bother me, because it's a program. It's like, really, thoughts and everything that comes from your mind, they don't have their own source. They don't have their own soul. They're just empty and meaningless unless we define it otherwise. So just knowing that all of that stuff swirling around in your mind is just trying to get you to identify with it. It makes it even easier for me, in my experience, to really, really stand in my truth and not choose anything but that. So that's what I would do. And you will notice the more you practice this, the more you truly allow it all to be there, but still standing in your truth. And I just had an image coming to mind. I don't know if any of you guys know who Avril Lavigne is, but she had a CD, and on the cover, it was her just standing there and everything just swirling by her. Like, it was everything moving, but she was standing still. That's what I imagine when I think of this. It's really just standing in your truth, letting everything be the way that it is, but knowing who you are. And these thoughts will start to slow down, and they will stop coming up altogether because you're not feeding them anymore.
Thank you so much, Brittany.
You're welcome.
Sissy, go for it.
Hi, good morning, Brittany.
Hi, good morning.
So I have been in a space of really knowing who I am and having amazing manifestations and really sitting in the space, that the eye of the storm kind of thing, like you said. But then there's moments like I had where I'm like super present in such a pause state and witnessing the character. And almost laughable sometimes. And then something major will happen that's not something that matches my new state.
Okay.
So like this week, I've been in this very powerful, easeful character, knowing that everything is like my design. And then I had a friend who would never, ever mistreat me, treat me in the most horrible way.
Okay.
And when it happened, I kind of was very neutral about it. But then I started to get anxiety about it and have like emotions come up, and I didn't sleep for like a day. And again, I'm in a space of awareness, but the space has closed in a bit.
Yeah.
So I know that you kind of answered it with Gaganjeet's question, that it's just the ego trying to get its attention again.
Yeah.
But how would you navigate that space?
Yeah.
Like I'm in a wonderful state most of the time.
Mhm.
But this kind of like threw me a little bit off.
Yeah.
And I'm like 1 foot in, kind of 1 foot out kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's kind of like I'm not able to be as spacious as I would normally be able to.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
also questioning why this even happened because,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, of course, of course. And the first thing that I want to say to you is really understanding that this 3D reflection, mirror, whatever you want to call it, it really is the space where everything comes in to die out. So if it's in 3D form, it's because it's leaving your experience. And I understand that the character is like, wait a second. I've been in the right state. I've been doing everything right. This doesn't make sense. Now let's stop on this, figure out why it's here. No, no. In fact, you're doing everything right. This is perfect. This is happening for you so that it can move out of your space, move out of your awareness, and you can come back to the truth. So as far as how to navigate it, it's really just understanding that everything in 3D form is dying out as we speak. That's why we want to be consistent with our practice of knowing ourselves so that we can have a consistent experience in this 3D reflection, but really it's coming out for your benefit so that it can move out of your awareness. So just remembering that and doing the practices, like you said, coming back to the truth, no judgment if there's feelings involved, if there's, the character's feeling a certain way about it, that's totally fine. Allow her the space to feel that, and then come back again to the relief in knowing that this is moving out of my life now, so I can let it go.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Fantastic questions, guys. I have one more for you, Brittany.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I'm source. I understand it. What do I do with my life? Do I have a passion? Is passions just made up? What do I do with my time now that I know I'm source?
I love it. I love this question. And the first thing is, you are your
Brittany,
life.
I think you cut out.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, you hear me? Brandon? Is Brandon cutting out? Okay.
I think he is, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is that just me frozen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I just started. I said, you are your life. So that's the first thing. What do? You start to live in whatever way you want to. And honestly, you don't need to figure out if there's anything that you're passionate about. I understand that this whole experience is new for all of us, but understanding that you are not here for any other reason but to experience, but to know yourself as source. That's it. So really, you might find that you have a passion in this. You might find that, wow, I actually think that I can help people. That's what I've always been wanting to do. But you don't have to. You're not here to do something, to fulfill some sort of job or role. Truly, you're here to enjoy your experiences. So what I would say is just start spending some time, some space, asking yourself, what feels good to me? What do I like to think about? What do I like to do in my life? And again, not to find some answer and then follow it, but just to bring these ideas up into your awareness. Because I used to kind of struggle with this as well, where I'm like, I have lots of things that I like and I feel good about. I just don't know what direction my life should be going. Even that is kind of silly. We don't have to be going in a certain direction. All we're doing is flowing and moving through this experience and really allowing things to present themselves to us. So again, I would really just say, start sitting with these ideas. Again, I had no idea, because I was living my life for so long in a space of doing nothing that made me feel good. I didn't even know what made me feel good. So I spent some time in that space. What does feel good to me? And I didn't have answers from my mind, but Source started bringing things into my experience that I enjoyed. And then I went with that. And then more things opened up for me. So really just understanding that you don't have to go and find something. You don't have to make something happen. You really want to just rest in this truth, allow yourself to really live from this space, and everything that's there, everything that makes sense for you and who you are, how unique you are in your soul and who you really are, it will all come to you. It will be presented to you. Because here's the thing, you're not manifesting anything into your experience. You're not attracting anything into your experience. What you're doing is dropping all of the illusions that imply you don't have the life that you want. You aren't who you want to be. You're dropping it all and revealing your truth, which is everything, perfection, happy, whole, complete, perfect. That's it. That's who you are. And however you deem that to be in your experience, you know, I know we have specific desires, and that's fine. They will present themselves to you without you having to effort to make it so.
Thank you, Brittany. Let me send it to Anu. She will be our last question for the day. Anu, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have one last question. Is there any book or material that you can suggest which might have helped you to anything like that?
Well, I mean, I have read many, many, many books over the last 18 years. There's not one particular book that I would suggest to you. Of course, I can always go back and look, but honestly, no book, no teacher, no nothing is going to be better than yourself and really sitting with yourself. You have all of the answers. You have all of the answers 100% always. So just leaning more into that over everything else is going to be the most beneficial thing for you. Trusting in yourself, trusting in the truth as source, and allowing that to be revealed to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that too. When you guys are looking for books, teachers and stuff, remember, you are the source. You're the one giving it power, right? You're the only one that can give that book any power. So it's okay to read things, right?
Yeah,
just be cautious and aware that you're the one choosing it. But with that being said, this was so awesome. Brittany, thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys are amazing. I love you all. Thank you so much for asking such great questions.
Yeah, it's such a great group of people. And there was about 50 people on this call at one point. So thank you so much for showing up. Brittany and I definitely need to plan more content in the future. You know, another appearance here. This is so much fun and so great. So I just want to say thank you to Brittany. Thank you to everyone showing up. And I will post this call within the group later today. And Brittany, I'll send you an email later today following up with some stuff. So, hey, you guys, so great. Take care and have a great rest of your
Bye.